Hey gang, welcome to something new. So a lot of people have been requesting that we do a weekly news update type of show. So we're giving this a shot. I'm joined by the one and only Dutchrudder, and we're going to be doing a news thing, and we don't know what to call it. So I guess the first order of business is we gotta name this thing.
Yeah, I mean, it should be fun to kind of meet and brainstorm a little bit about how we feel the game is moving, what the news and the blog updates mean for us and the community. And I think it'll be really interesting to do this week to week, especially with somebody that's such an avid gamer of MSF and, of course, other games too. And I think we should be able to get a lot of good discussion, a lot of good conversation, and hopefully some good questions from the audience later.
Yep, I do like the added level of interaction we're adding to this by doing it on stream as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so some names were thrown out, but yeah, it's going to be somewhere in between catching you up on all the news of the week. So some of the names that were thrown out, Dutch first proposed Strike Force on the Rocks. So weekly wrap up is good. Saturday Shenanigans.
Yes, Saturday Shenanigans. I think that's a funny one. It's got a little whimsy to it. Trash talks, or you could do something along the lines of that. Lately, it's felt kind of that way with the way things are going in the game, but I don't know. I think today's blog shines a little bit more light at the end of that tunnel, so maybe that's not the best way to go.
Khasino's Dutch Oven was thrown out. Probably not that one. Whales and Fails.
Whales and fails. Ooh.
But anyway, so yeah, we're just brainstorming. But if you guys have any good suggestions, leave it in the comments on this video. And yeah, if you like one of the suggestions that you've heard, obviously vote for that one. If you have a different idea that you think would be perfect, leave it. But yeah, we'll have a name by next week. So we're just trying this out. But yeah, if you end up liking what we do here this week, definitely let us know, because we're gonna gauge based on how many people love this series and this format, kind of based off this pilot podcast, if you will. On that note, another important aspect of what we're doing here is we're going to be drinking. Now, I know, Dutch, you don't drink very much, and you're just, going along with it.
I drink about as much as a whale, right?
Yeah, that's true. You're like a beverage whale.
I am. Yeah, I definitely spend more money on my booze than I do on my MSF account, but that's probably the right balance for me. Maybe not everyone. But I figured for our inaugural news show, whatever we end up calling this, I'd bring out something really good. So this is absolutely one of my favorite bourbons of all time. This is a George T. Stagg bottle of 2018. Not this year's, but the 2018, 62.5%, and it is phenomenal as a bourbon. If you ever get a chance to try it, this is my absolute favorite year of George T. Stagg, and it's one of those kind of hard to find bourbons that's not too expensive, but if you can find it, it is phenomenal. It's just very hard to acquire, and you can usually find it at a couple of good bars around town and stuff. So check it out if you get a chance, because it is smooth and it is wonderful. So I'll be pouring that tonight.
I just went upstairs and asked my girlfriend, hey, what do we have that's alcoholic? She's like, you can drink this. So I've actually never had this before, so if I spit it out on my keyboard, that's why. But it's called a Vizzy Hard Seltzer. And the green screen's messing with it quite a bit there. But yeah, it's a hint of pineapple and mango. So I'm just getting my vitamin C with some alcohol.
Nice. I can't
I'll let
say
you know
that
how it
I've
is.
had that.
Oh, we have a suggestion from the chat, though, which is take a shot every time Scopely screws something up for the week. So it's a suggestion for both of us to get alcohol poisoning. We probably won't be incorporating that.
Yeah, that's, man, we just see bugs after bugs after bugs. So hopefully they take a breather and focus a little bit on fixing some things, because I mean, yeah, the community's definitely gotten to kind of a boiling point here with some of these.
Well, as players, we really need to step up our QA efforts. That's what I'm learning.
Yeah. I've just been ignoring my Jira tickets is the problem. That's what's going on.
First thing on the docket, there was a day where they did a Falcon double drop as part of the Black History Month. So, you take advantage of that? What do you think?
Oh, I've already had about 7 stars for years now. So I I didn't need them, but I'm sure newer players could benefit from that. It'll be interesting to see who else they put in those double drops. I mean, I assume they're gonna have one every week or two, maybe.
So all things they're doing for the Black History Month, they had a Miles Blitz, which we'll talk about on the 1st. There was a double drop all Wakandan characters on the 2nd. They did the Shuri. They called it the Shuri campaign event, but it's Chaos Theory, so I don't know why they called it that. A double drop for Falcon on the 7th. Killmonger Blitz. They're doing a double drop on Black Panther and Storm on the 13th. Then there's a War Machine Blitz, the Nick Fury Legendary event on the 15th. A double drop of Luke Cage on the 20th. And then there's going to be a double drop of Okoye on the 25th after the M'Baku Blitz.
Okay. That's pretty good.
So,
that's yeah.
I have mixed feelings about this.
Yeah,
I like what they've done for Black History Month, and it's good that they're doing an event for it. And again, this is not a reflection of the month, but all these characters suck.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't have a whole lot to choose from, unfortunately. That's the problem. So it's just
do all Bishop stuff.
Dude, that would be amazing. Like, that would have been
a month of Bishop.
That would have really made the community happy if they had gone with something like that. But
the double drop on Falcon, it already happened, so I hope people are able to take advantage of it. But I guess what I'll throw in is Falcon is awesome. He's one of my favorite like sleeper characters. In fact, in the tech lanes of the Doom raid, Falcon is like kind of been my MVP. Like I've been taking him over characters that objectively are better characters than him, because his ability to use that special at the right time is allowing the other 4 people to get work done that they need to get done in important windows of time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like Falcon will never truly be out of fashion in the game because his special is just like a total game changer.
Yeah, and nobody really does anything like that without any sort of like restrictions on who it applies to, you know? So that is, yeah. So yeah, if you don't have him at 7 stars, I mean, you definitely should be working on it, but otherwise, yeah, there's not much else to do with him. I mean, I don't know. For me, the biggest challenge is like, are you going to bring him to DD4? You know, it's for me, all of my characters that I look at now, it's just like, if I'm not bringing them to DD4, I'm not working on them.
Moving on, there was a Pimtech double drop. So did you take advantage of this? Are you trying to hard farm Stature?
That one I did. So Stature is my bottleneck as well as Ghost for upgrading Jubilee. So I did get at least a 5-star Jubilee. So I'm happy with that. But again, these are characters that are not going to DD4, so I can only take them to basically tier 12 and, you know, level 65-ish or so, because beyond that, it doesn't really help me. Because if they aren't going to tier 14 or above, then they don't really help me in raids or anything. I don't need them right now, but I figure by the time I'm done with DD4, it's going to be a great time to upgrade Axemen and then start using them for Doom raids, because my alliance will probably have progressed enough to catch up to be where we can do Doom raid more frequently, because right now we're only doing it like once a week, just to kind of see where we're at. We usually hit 30% and then just kind of fail out there. Around the second boss, we just get annihilated. So, you know, that's about as far as we can get. Pimtech double drop, yeah, I think I got right around like 44 stature shards on the 2 days, and then but that was doing some extra refreshes and everything. I was going through 100 refreshes just to make sure I got a decent amount, because I know I'm going to need them later, and it's been a very slow farm for me. Wasp, though, I didn't even do refreshes on him, and I think I got 16 shards for him, and it was just like literally 5 and 5 the 2 days, and it was just like I think the game knows I'm already at 6 stars with him, so I don't need it. It's always a little bit of a conspiracy about drops, you know. Everybody has theories. Yeah, you have to have your own tinfoil for you know, why they're cheating just you out of the drops on that day. By the way, he meant Yellow Jacket, everybody. He said Wasp. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Yellow Jacket, of course.
Moving right along, the Jubilee Legendary event. We have to talk about that. So I guess we'll start with an interesting one. How did you feel about Jubilee being the legendary character on this team?
Initially I was like, why? Like, I mean, where's Professor X, right? Where's Rogue Gambit? Somebody bigger name I would expect to be the legendary. I don't have a problem with Jubilee in the game at all. I mean, she's a good character. I loved her in the 90s X-Men series. Remember that? Fox Kids back in the day? I love that. She was a pivotal character, especially in that first season. And so, it brings me back to that show. I actually started rewatching that show this week just because she came in the Legendary event. But
You
I got
really
her.
drive the plot with how often she like gets kidnapped and whatnot. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, she is actually really integral to the storylines, and it's mostly the X-Men fighting over like how they address her. Yeah, getting kidnapped or getting caught, or like the Sentinels are like coming after her. And
Yeah.
it's really funny. Like, I mean, I didn't thinking back on this. It's been 20 years since I watched this show. It's like, man, I didn't remember her being this like involved. Like, it's kind of funny.
Yeah. Oh, she's all over it, but she's mostly a hindrance, I feel like.
Yeah, she drives a lot of the plot lines though, in sort of an inadvertent way. But yeah, there are some times where you're just like, ugh, why is she doing that? Like, but I wasn't too happy with it because I felt like she didn't deserve the legendary status. But I also feel that way about some of the other legendaries, right? And so it's not anything unusual, right? It's so. I mean,
I have to ask which legendary is
Oh, other legendaries that I don't think should be legendary,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
it should have been somebody else from the team. I would say, probably, man, Iron Man isn't that flashy as he is in the game, right? So
Right.
that's okay. So this is a good comparison. Like Iron Man, I would say is the best character as far as MCU characters go, not MSF related, but just in general as far as storylines go, in the
Yeah.
Power Armor team and really the tech team guys that have been in and out of that team that he's on, right? But his kit doesn't match his status. That's the problem. Whereas Jubilee to me is the opposite, where she feels like a character that doesn't necessarily deserve the legendary status, but her kit absolutely does. Like you could put that kit on anybody and it would just be like, oh man, it doesn't matter who you put in there. You can make it morph and it would still be like, holy crap, like this is an awesome kit. This is gonna be amazing for raids and stuff. Like that's the challenge to me. It's like, because there's legendaries that don't feel legendary, and then there's non-legendaries that do feel legendary in the game, and it's just all about their kits.
The pet peeve for me has always been Scarlet Witch, which is they made her like a controller, but they made her a controller that does no damage, and that's always driven me insane. I'm a huge Scarlet Witch fan, and it's like, how does she hurt less than like? I feel like she does like Nebula damage, and it's like she rips apart the fabric of reality. Like, do you guys read her comics? What is this?
Yeah, like WandaVision right now is kind of putting that character to shame because of what she's capable of, and it's so dramatically different from what she does in the game that I'm just like, where's the rework? Like,
yeah, I'm ready. But so I guess back on the topic of Jubilee, I'm with you on that, which is I like Jubilee as a character as well. Yeah, I knew her from the 90s X-Men, and she's made like cameo appearances in like all the movies and stuff. Yeah, I like the character, and it is weird that she got the legendary tag. Their excuse for it was that they felt she was the heart and soul of the team, which for me is like, well, that's an interesting bar for legendary. Like, you can be the heart and soul of the team, but still legendary implies like doing all the heavy lifting, and you can make the case that like, oh, the emotional support contribution is the most important part. But if that's the case, then her kit should just be like insane buffs constantly, but like that's kind of beast. You know what I mean? So she's alongside like an Omega level mutant in Iceman. He would have made an awesome legendary. So yeah, but I don't mind it, and I am very happy with the team. So
yeah, the team works great from what I can tell. I haven't really built them up myself yet. I've got other priorities in mind. They are on my list, of course, but man, it's just resource crunch. Just that's the biggest issue right now for me. But
the resource crunch is real. But we need to talk about how good the team is. So I've put up some videos on these guys, but firstly, they can go toe-to-toe with the Black Order at even power, and that's without all their amazing raid bonuses. In raid, they transform into this godly team. So how strong, ballpark, would you say like symbiotes have to be to do the Ronin mini-boss in Ultimate 7.5?
Well, mine's right around 570k, and they get annihilated if I don't send in a SAC team. I normally take my Black Order into Ronin Node, and I can get through it.
All right, you ready for this?
Yeah.
The Astonishing X-Men, I took them in at 378k and one shot the Ronin mini boss.
Oh man, that's what I was waiting to see. I've seen these videos and it's like the first 8 nodes of like the side lanes, and it's just like, I need to see Ronin node, I need to see Fury node, I need to see Ultimus node with them, and I want to know what the power level is that needs to be there to get through it. But yeah, if it's just under 400k to beat Ronin, that's significant. And I've always thought they're gonna be like the best raid team, or at least the best global raid team, and they looked like it on paper, and they're definitely.
I think Bishop's Cosmic, but yeah. But so here's
oh, is he? Oh no.
I think so.
That's
but for Doom raid,
for Greek raids, then.
Well, one of the Greek raids just does mutant or X-Men, and then so you can use them in Gamma.
Okay.
But and in Doom raid, there's just a mutant section, so they're good there too. But it'll mess with global a bit. But
you're right. He is Cosmic. Yeah. So that screws up the. Is it Alpha raid? Is the one that has like the global lane in the middle? That's pretty tough.
It might, but there are enough good options for global at least.
Okay.
And if he's the only one, like he does quite a bit on that team, but he's not irreplaceable. What's really awesome about this team is they are hands down the top raid team. But if you invest super heavy in them, you also get a very functional arena team. They can punch across on Black Order, so they're not as good in arena as compared to like the Black Order, who can do a 100k punch up on another Black Order. But the fact that you can super heavily invest in them and walk away with a competitive arena team and the best raid team is huge.
Yeah, that absolutely is. So I've seen the Black Order stuff, but in my arena right now, the lowest Black Order I've seen anywhere in like the top 10, 20 is about 625k. So it's going to be, unfortunately, a while until you get to that point where you can't. But that's me on an older account. If you're on a newer account, though, it seems like they would be the way to go, because your arena is probably not full of silly, large Black Orders, right?
Right.
And so that's kind of... The thing is, like, if you're starting out relatively recently, then maybe that is the way to build, assuming you can, get the shards on them to unlock them and make them pretty decent. So that's the other question is when are they going to become farmable or fountainable, as you say. And I think, if you recall, Black Order last year took a very long time to become anywhere near attainable, and even then we still have Call in the premium orbs to this date. It's going to take a lot of luck to get him to 7 stars. So that's a challenge, right? And I kind of wonder, I don't know, but I wonder if Axeman may go that route, and we may end up with, like a Bishop in some sort of premium orb, kind of very trickly kind of way of farming, because he's so good. And I feel like he's kind of the cull of that team,
Yeah, every top team that I can recall lately, they've made one member just really, really tough and slow to get. So like Emma was a milestone character on the Marauders, and then she's just stayed milestone for now. So you've had limited windows to get her. They tried a mega orb exclusive thing with Colossus, so you were missing like the tank of the original Uncanny X-Men. Yo-Yo premium orb exclusive was the holdout on the Inhumans. So who do you think is going to be the holdout on the Astonishing X-Men?
I think it has to be Bishop. I mean, Jubilee's legendary. She's locked in. Like, that's the only way to unlock her. And then I feel like Beast, going to RTA this month is making him somewhat available before they make him more available, most likely, I would assume.
Yeah.
So they want to drive that revenue through RTA Battle Pass and then release him in a month or two after. Some way, probably a store release or something for him, I would imagine. But he's also, the nice thing about him, he's a swing guy, right? He can go to your old X-Men team now and be effective there while you build him, waiting for the X-Men to be built up, so you can make a lot of use out of somebody like Beast in the meantime while you're still working on building those other characters, which is what I'm actually doing. Is Beast is like level 70 now for me, and he's on my X-Men for Blitz and War, but I plan on swinging him over once I get the other ones to the right level.
Yeah, he's really good on the Uncanny. And on the subject of difficult to obtain characters, it's a good transition. Regarding the WatchRemanXShakeIt calendar.
Yep.
What are you happy with that calendar? And
yes,
ultimately, who are you going for?
I gotta say, I think this is a little underrated. I know the community's kind of been in an uproar about certain things lately, and very reasonably so. There have been a lot of negative changes in certain areas of the game. But this is one that I remember seeing those votes and thinking like, no, vote Cull, vote Cull, vote Cull, because he's in premium orbs. We already know he's unattainable for the most part. And I kept seeing the two of them, Ghost and Cull, were at the top, and I'm just like, no, I know Ghost is really good. Like, I'm not saying she's not, but I don't think she's going to end up in premium orbs is the thing, right? And so making it to where not only do we get to choose which one of them we want, but then 25 and 25 at a time of each up to 100, like that's like, I don't even remember seeing anybody suggest that on Reddit. Right. I don't even remember that being a Reddit suggestion or anything.
Well, I'll tell you, it's because people just figured like, oh, that's too nice, they won't go for it.
That is probably true. But it is actually very generous of them. I gotta give them a little credit there. That is above and beyond what I thought they were going to do with that calendar. Or it's not even really. I guess it's a calendar to get the credits and then you choose the orb. But yeah, it exceeded my expectations of what they were capable and willing to do.
Mine as well, but I gotta say they have us trained well. If we are just absolutely praising them for giving us some agency. We get to choose which shards we want. Wow. Yeah. Again, it's a good thing, and I love it as well, and I hope that this becomes the new standard. This was obviously very, very popular with the players, which makes me worried that we may not see it again. But my advice to people is get just enough Ghost to get to the star level you want for Jubilee, but Cull shards are going to be hard to come by, so grab them while you can. You'll be thankful. Because Black Order, even if they get several counters come out over the next few patches, they're still going to be like a top 5 team in the game. They're still going to be incredible.
Yeah, if they get knocked down APEG, they become the number 2 team in the game. It's like, oh no, right. What am I going to do with them now? Like, come on.
Right.
That's awesome. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, if you're going to build meta, start at the top and work your way down.
Other news from this past week: there was a Relic Hunt event. So, of all the Flash events, where does Relic Hunt stack up for you? We got the promo credits from Chaos Theory. We got the catalysts from Relic Hunt. We got gold from Payday. And then every other month we get the ability mats from Block Party. So where's Relic Hunt stack up for you?
Well, I don't think anything beats promo credits. I think everybody's going to want those red stars. That's the name of the game right now. But I feel like right now, being in the middle of DD4 and being stuck, Relic Hunt is probably like number 2 on my priority list right now because I need thousands, like 4,300 and something SBCs just to get in and finish DD4. So getting a couple hundred here is helpful, but man, I need a lot more. So it helps, but yeah, it's slow trickle in a river of gear that I need.
All right, on the next topic of Gamma Raids returning, they've changed up who is in the Gamma Orbs. Mm-hmm. It is now Cosmic Brawlers and Protectors.
Yeah.
And, there's a couple big names that are omitted, interestingly. But I mean, what do you think of the assortment of characters that are in there?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about it because Shatterstar's in there, and he's one of my new favorites. So he's like the only one I really need out of it. Actually, I don't think I need any of the others because I did finish Captain Marvel. But Captain Marvel, for a lot of people that haven't been around for her milestones, I mean, gosh, it's been, I don't know how long since she was in the milestones herself, but I'm sure a lot of newer, mid-level players are probably still looking at 7 stars for her. She's a good add. And then Thanos is in there too, if you don't have him already maxed. He's, of course, essential to Black Order, so he would be a really good one to work on. And then, of course, there's a couple Asgardians too for trying to get those unlocks done for Black Bolt.
Yep, and I'm with you. I'm most excited about Shatterstar. It's just a little bit sad that Cull wasn't in there because, like, I feel like he could be in there and Premium Orb exclusive and still be super rare.
That would be pretty cool. That would be.
Right.
We haven't seen that yet. We still haven't seen Yo-Yo in another location either. So yeah, it's definitely a trickle on Yo-Yo shards. But I feel like since she was the last or the earlier one added to the premium orb, she's more likely to get pushed out for somebody else like a Bishop or somebody really good to take that premium spot, and maybe she goes to like a War Store or something a little more attainable but still somewhat difficult to farm.
Yep, that's what I expect from her as well. But we'll see. They waited on Minerva a while. I felt like Minerva was like out of the meta a lot by the, she's still a really top tier character, and I took her into DD4, but they waited a while to take her out of there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree, and she does feel kind of like in that same vein where it's like, where's she gonna go? When she's gonna go there? I don't know. Like, but she needs to. I'd love to get 7 stars on Yo-Yo. She's awesome.
Now we're gonna talk about some of the blitzes that happened over the last week. So we had the first Iceman blitz, and they did something interesting with the first Iceman blitz that was still running towards the end of last week, which is this is the first time that they, in recent memory anyway, that they didn't follow up with a new character's second blitz the following Thursday. They have moved to alternating, so now it's Iceman, and then we had Killmonger early this week, and now we have Bishop, and then next Thursday it's going to be Iceman 2, and then the Thursday after that it's going to be Bishop 2. They're kind of alternating. Now I have a theory that this was not like a calculated thing, and that they just accidentally screwed up. And because they announced a whole bunch of wrong dates, right? They sent on the in-game mail saying it was going to be on the 12th, and everyone's like, the 12th? That's a Friday. And then okay. I remember laughing because we saw that, and we were like, well, it says the 12th. Are they? And we were like, but it's supposed to be Iceman 2. So are they going to do Iceman 2 on Thursday and then open up a new Bishop blitz on Friday and have them both going?
Yeah.
We were very confused. And then someone went on Reddit and was like, is it really the 12th? And Zeke's was like, it is indeed the 12th. And I was like, all right, well, we'll see how this plays out. And then later the same day, she was like, there was some miscommunication about which blitzes are on which day, actually.
Yeah.
And had to completely retract. So I'm not sure that this was an intentional thing, but
I can see that. I mean, I don't think they would ever admit to it.
Right.
But yeah, everything you just said just feels like, oops, like, and just like, let's just go with it. Like, and then also the accidental Iceman blitz. What was it, Wednesday or something? It launched or Monday.
Yeah.
I think it was.
You're
Monday,
getting ahead
right?
of me. I believe it was Monday. No, I think it was it was the day before Iceman's actual blitz.
Okay.
So it was Wednesday.
That's what I thought. It was a Wednesday. That's so weird because like I wasn't even like prepared for it. I actually looked at it on my phone and I didn't realize it was Wednesday. I thought it was Thursday, and I was just like, okay. I was doing dishes and I just didn't do anything with it. And then I went back later. It was gone. I was just like, what happened? Like I was so confused, and I totally missed out on 21 shards I could have got.
Yeah, well, they sent out the compensation. Did you get it?
They did. I did get the 21 shards, but I don't know if they actually took the time to go figure out what other people attained.
Oh, they did. They did because okay. I did not get compensation, and so what happened? I was streaming when it went live, and as soon as we realized it, we were like, "Everybody, go get your Iceman shards! Go, go!" So my chat was just like, "I got my 21 Iceman shards." People are like, "I'm just praying I can claim it before they figure out what they've done." But so what's funny now is whenever they screw up like this. The compensation always like, sometimes the compensation isn't enough. And it's like, oh, if you were the person who took advantage of it early, you came off better. Mm-hmm. But now, like when it went live, a lot of people had just done a blitz rotation. Right. So a ton of people threw blitz charges and or cores at this to like do the matches right then. And now other people just got the shards for free. Yeah. So now you have all the people who did it when it first showed up running this war. Like, can I get my blitz charges and cores back then? Since everyone else just got the shards for free. Yeah. You always run into this,
But yeah, I'm glad that they did that though. I think that's the right way to do it, and I think that's how compensation should always be handled. Is that they should do a query to figure out who benefited from it, how much, and then do the delta for those that got a partial, right? So I hope if somebody only got like 4 milestones that they got the benefit, and then
they did.
That's really important. I think that's important for the community. I think that's important for the perception of the community in the game's developers and how they do these things, because in the past I know there have been other errors exactly like this where people double dipped, right? They got both the compensation and the benefit from being online and doing it, and that's important. I think that's really good that they did that, and I'm glad you confirmed that.
Yep, I concur.
Although I'm sorry you didn't get extra shards. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that too. So on the topic of those blitzes, which are you most excited for? Iceman, Killmonger, Bishop, and then just kind of briefly, what do you think of those characters?
Oh, well, Killmonger I've had at 7 stars for quite some time. So for me, that's an off blitz for me. I'll just do some autos here and there for some blitz credits. But if you don't have him at 7 stars, man, he is like, I love him on Mercs. He is absolutely a dominant force on Mercs. The other thing is, yeah, Iceman and Bishop. I feel like Iceman needs stars to stay alive, but then he does have that auto revive if you got the full Axeman team. So that's maybe it's not quite as important, but still you want him to land those debuffs. And then Bishop, man, he is, to me, he's the all-star of the Axemen. I mean, I love Jubilee too, but I feel like Bishop, yeah, I mean, you made a video on that. Like, stars are so important. Gold and red stars on him. And he is like the stopping force, the movable rock of the Axemen. And you got to have him big to be in good shape with that team and be able to really dominate some of those matchups and those Doom rates.
Yeah, he's the stat whore is what I would call it. Because like, whenever I made that video and it confused some people, so I guess I'll take another opportunity to clarify it here. I've been making that video saying like, go all in on Bishop, get as many stars, get as many red stars, and people have taken that to mean like, oh, Bishop is just a god tier, super epic, amazing character. And so I've been trying to like clarify 2 things. The first is Bishop is not an insane solo character. He is well above average. Like, Bishop is not a bad character. Bishop is good, but Bishop is not like Emma Frost or Symbiote Spider-Man good. He's just pretty good. He's like Killmonger in his heyday good, which is like, yeah, it's pretty good. But yeah, it's not a showstopper solo. He definitely needs Jubilee. That's the first thing. Yep. And the second thing is, even to say that like on the Astonishing X-Men, like he's doing all the work, it's not even that. In fact, interestingly, he's arguably the most replaceable, because everyone else has like a specific function that the team has to have, whether it's like the slows or the damage reduction or the evades or whatever. Like he's actually, if I had to sub someone in, like if you're like, put Dr. Doom on the Astonishing X-Men somewhere, like it's probably Bishop that I'm taking out. But it's not because Bishop is bad. It's just because Bishop is mainly stats. He's the tank and the damage. But if they have really good survivability even without the tank. They just have preposterous survivability with him. And then damage, his damage is very good, especially in raid on that team. But he doesn't have like completely irreplaceable. He's not like the craziest damage dealer in the game. The reason I made the video saying he needs all the stars because, like you just said, like Iceman needs enough to get by. Jubilee needs enough to get by. Every other character on that team is like, they want stars, they want red stars, but they don't, you don't need like a 7 red star Jubilee doesn't make your Astonishing X-Men suddenly crush and steamroll everything. It's like, well, now she's definitely not going to miss her blinds, and she'll take hits pretty well like she already did. But in particular, Bishop is just the raw stats. He's like, you hit me and then I'll hit you. So the more health, the more armor, the more damage. Like, I don't think he has any control effects except clearing counter. Like, he doesn't care about any of that. He's just like, hit me, I'll hit you. That's his whole thing. It's all stats. Bishop's stats are basically the damage slider and the tankiness slider of the whole team.
Yeah, so the counter is just awesome.
Oh yeah,
and he keeps
and his ult
too.
Yeah, and oh man, but the ult is, the damage is just like I said, I'm using a 378k Astonishing X-Men right now for the same reasons that we've talked about all throughout this episode. Of I won't take any of them past gear tier 12 until I'm done with other stuff. But watching him use an offense up charged ult and just like blasting like literally a use 7.5 enemy for like half their health. I'm just like, how are you doing this? What are you gonna do at level 80 and gear tier 15? You're just gonna one-shot him? Like, good lord. Every other character is like there's Bishop, and then there's 4 people keeping everyone else alive while Bishop works. You have Jubilee throwing out slows and blinds. Iceman is slowing and stunning while damage reducing, like 30% damage reduction is huge. Kitty is giving out non-stop evades and healing whenever an enemy misses or someone evades. So you have all that healing coming in, and she's just making them really tough to hit. Other news, Yelena added to the Elite store. So what are your thoughts on Yelena? Are you going to try to upgrade her? Or? Oh, not a fan.
Nah, I have not put any effort into Skeletal besides Red Guardian. I really like Red Guardian as a solo character from that team, but
Same.
I actually stuck in with my S6 on defense, and they do get me a win or two here and there because he takes the brunt of the X-Force. Because everybody's just like, oh, Doc Ock, X-Force, right? And
Yeah.
I need an auto taunt in there that can actually take a couple of hits or something to let them get going. Because once they get going, man, Doc Ock,
Yeah.
7 stars, 5 red, like tier 14 and a half or so, he just dominates. And as long as you can keep a little bit of pressure off of them, they will do a lot. But Yelena,
Well,
I just don't know what to do with her, honestly.
She's an above average solo character. She does an insane amount of damage with her ult, but you have to have a bunch of T4s invested in her just to have her do that. And the problem is, so like the gold stars aren't available enough on her for you to see that. And again, because she's like a squishy damage dealer, it's kind of like a Corvus Glaive, where like if you have like a 7 red star Corvus Glaive, then when people actually see that, they're like, dang, that's a lot of damage. But if you don't have a 7 red star Corvus Glaive, then it's just another Corvus, and it's not that crazy. And that's kind of where she fits in. And but unfortunately for her, her team, like Red Guardian is gonna have to just go off on his own and be awesome. But her team have almost no purpose outside of war, and the investment they require for the results they provide is it's just simply not worth it. It's a massive amount of investment to score some punch acrosses. But like in reality, a ton of teams can actually punch across on a ton of other teams if you actually have them strong enough. So yeah, it's just not worth it. So yeah, you know, it's good that she's been added to the elite store, but no one's really going for her because her team isn't exciting. She's not a strong solo character. Like again, she's above average, but she's especially where people have her, almost no one has enough gold stars on her to even support high red stars for her.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
all right, enough ragging on Yelena. We'll move on. So I gotta say, I pay a good amount of attention to the going-ons in this game, and I didn't even realize there was an ISO-8 issue until the compensation was issued.
Yeah, that was a
Did you realize
surprise to
that,
me. I was like, you know, I looked at my phone and I was just like, 75 support and controller. What did I do? Did I refresh a node like a whole bunch by accident?
Right,
I
right.
was like, I don't even know what this came from. That's so funny. Like, no idea what happened. I'm honestly still not clear on what happened. Can you explain it?
There was a node that wasn't paying out what it was supposed to.
Oh.
Just one of the nodes, like you could farm it, but you just weren't going to get what you were going for.
For
so
how long do you think that went on? To get 75 of each?
Probably like the whole time or a couple patches. I don't know.
Because I'll tell you what, that ISO 8 stuff is so Jekyll and Hyde for me. Like sometimes I'll hit a node and I'll get like especially those ones that have like 4 payouts. Sometimes I'll get like a dozen out of it, and other times I'll get like 2. And I'm just like, I mean, you know, I guess I rolled a Yahtzee yesterday. I don't know what's going on. Like, it's so weird. Like those, I wish they would make the drop rates, like get a little icon for the eye on those nodes and show us what the chances are, because I feel like everybody in the community has just no expectations about what these should be, especially when it comes to like character shard double drops.
I'm 100% with you on that. Yeah, the double drop for Pim Tech, I was like, cool, I've been farming Yellow Jacket and Stature. Let me just do Stature, 0 shards. Well, it's a double drop, so you know what? I'll throw the 50 cores to hit this node again, and that way, you know, I'll get twice as many here, and at least I'll break even. 0 shards.
Yep.
Okay, well, fun, super fun double drop event. Anyway, moving on. Like, no, I'm not giving you another 50 cores. And the worst part is, like, if I gave another 50 cores, I'd probably have gotten, like, 16 shards. Be like, ah!
Yeah, sometimes it does feel like they're egging you on.
So next up, we'll talk about the Lunar Festival event. What do you think of the Lunar Festival event? And then we'll kind of rope in with that the changes they've made to the Lunar Festival.
Yeah, so I think initially, I think that the feedback was pretty negative from the community, and I agree with that. I thought it was, like, I mean, even though I think most people aren't gonna go anywhere near 5,000 cores a day for the daily milestones, it just feels like such a daunting amount, and I'm thinking to myself, it's like, who the hell spends 5,000 cores a day on stuff? Like, I mean, unless you're pulling new character orbs. Like, I know I pulled a 7 red star long shot a while ago, and the orb was still in the store, so I probably spent like 3,000 cores on that, like, that day, because I was just like, oh my god, right? But that was a once in a blue moon kind of thing, right? Otherwise, I'm spending 400 cores a day on like refreshes. I'm spending 300 on store refreshes at most, so maybe 500 to 700 a day, and that to me feels like a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to, before you go on, I want to hear your thoughts on the rest of the event, but I do want to kind of mention this because like another take on this is obviously everyone was really, really upset with this event, and it's a bit of a perception issue, and like I get it, and they should have known better and communicated this better, but the players have this idea that any milestone that comes out, every player should have a reasonable chance of fully completing, which that's not how other games operate. Like this game kind of backed themselves into a corner by adhering to it so much that now when they come out with something like this, everyone's just like, I can't do that every day. But I think a lot of people are missing that you're not actually supposed to. So the reason that went up to 5,000 is, like you said, some players have some days where they spend a lot of cores. So like it just so happened one of the days during this event was the day that I'd mentioned to my Twitch chat, like, oh, if we get, I don't know, $100 in donations, I can buy a bunch of gold orbs and training orbs, and I can start the DD4 Legendary section right now. And then we did. So it's not like every day I'm like, well, time to spend $100 in cores on gold orbs and training orbs, but we did that day. And so the reason that it gave points for stuff up to that high is because, like, well, if I am going to spend 5,000 cores in a day, I don't want to get the same amount of points towards the event as if someone who only spent 800. So that was just there as like you can get this much, but so proof that like this wasn't like a after the fact spin on this was to fully max the alliance milestones. Every member only needs to do 650 cores a day, which is still more than you normally would. So that's interesting, but the fact of the matter is that people were never supposed to actually spend 5,000 cores a day. I don't think they anticipated anyone really doing that, but.
And I mean, you know, when you're talking like the max of the event is 420,000 across 24 people spend on 10 days, right? 4,200 cores in 10 days. No.
No, it's
not that much.
It's 650 cores because it is that, like, it is a lot of credits.
Yes,
but
I'm sorry, that's the conversion.
That's how they get you. Yeah, you can fully max those for 650 cores a day.
That's right. Yeah,
from each person.
But it needs to be each person. So let's count that down, right? So I always do my 50 core energy refreshes every day. That's 200 cores, right? I am doing 300 cores of store refreshes on the gold store every day just to try to get G15 minis to get through DD4 at a reasonable pace, or at least, you know, moderate pace, right? So that's 500, right? So I need another 150, which I could spend on, say, ISO 8 campaign. If I was in DD4 and doing refreshes, like you were saying, like that's a great way to spend cores. And it may not even be every day, right? It may be every other day or something, depending on like your time, your schedule, and like whether or not you even have the time to dedicate to it. Those are all good ways to spend cores in this game. Another thing is just new character orbs, right? So if you go in the store right now, right, we have orbs. So we also have bishop orbs for 675 each. Right? If you're planning on upgrading bishop a whole lot because you love X-Men, pick a day and just spend the hell out of it, and then wait 2 days and do it again if you want to while it's still available. And then you can run up those totals every other day and get the maximum amount of your credits for your cores, right? So that's the other thing is you don't want to actually do 650 a day. If you could spend 1,000 one day and 400 the next and split it out that way, you're actually going to be way better off because the credits go up as you get farther in the milestones. And I think that's something that's been left out of the analysis on Reddit is that you need to stagger it. Right? That's
true, but there's a funny aspect to it. So I haven't checked it since they just corrected it, but something I thought was hilarious back when it was the 5,000 was it goes up in the middle and then it falls off hard where you have to start spending a lot of cores to get fewer tickets. So people figured out that it was literally more cost effective to buy the cores for alliance mates that wouldn't have them. And
really?
The cores, yes. So I loved the irony of a core spending event where people are like, it's literally more cost effective to spend money not on cores for me.
Yeah.
To get this core spending event done.
Yeah,
That's great.
that is, but I mean, you know, I think that's the right way to design the event, though, right? You're trying to design it so that people's normal spend hits a reasonable amount of the alliance milestones, not necessarily all of them. And I agree with that point that you shouldn't go into these events thinking I have to max everything, right? I think that's a trap people fall into, but I also think it's a bit of conditioning over time that
Yes.
is not really recognized by a lot of the player base, that there is a bit of that, and you have to feel a little bit humble about where you are in the game and whether or not you even have the ability to spend to hit 100%, right? If you're hitting 80% of these milestones, you're still getting a good amount of stuff. I mean,
I'll give you this number too. You can spend 450. Every person can spend 450 a day, and you'll hit all but the final 3 in the alliance milestone.
Right, and that's a good amount. So you'd be missing out on 36 mini uniques for G15, 100 SBCs, and then whatever this red star thing is. Do you know what the final star is?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
what is it?
In the in-game mail. So it is a 5 red star character draft of named characters, no minions. So it's a random 5 red star on a named character.
That's pretty good. And it's only 5, it can't go up to 7?
To my knowledge, it's just a 5 red star character draft. That's what it said in the mail. So
okay.
Now I'll ask you this. You may not have an opinion on this, because like I was hearing this and I was like, I don't know if I have an opinion on this, but also like it's not really my position to have an opinion on this. So I don't want to weigh in too much because it's not really my place. But do you have an opinion on them tying this core spinning event to a Chinese New Year festival? It does seem like they don't necessarily have much to do with each other. What I can say is like a lot of gacha games, especially a lot of Asian-made gacha games, always do like events for the Chinese New Year. But I don't know, is like how much can you spend the right thing to tie to that, or?
Man,
or
I don't
is
know.
It being...
I think it's just another step in the chain of Scopely trying to squeeze the customer. I think they're just looking for an excuse to put it out there, and this happens to be something. Now, I don't recall, honestly, has there been an event before that deals with Chinese New Year? I don't recall one.
I think well, so what gets me is I know I've done a whole bunch of Lunar Festival events, but I don't remember if it was from other games or this one. Like,
yeah, I know
Lunar Festival events are very common.
Yeah, Overwatch has had Lunar events ever since it started, and I know Blizzard always does something for that. They have a very strong Chinese community on Blizzard games. Like it's unquestionable there. But yeah, I don't recall this game having one. And it is kind of like, I mean, this is technically a new style of event as far as the currency to spend to get it, but the actual core of the event, like the payouts and how it works with the orbs, is something we've seen repackaged in other ways. And so it's just, instead of doing other things like blitzing and raiding and whatever else to gain these credits and then open the orbs, doing cores alone is a deviation from the norm. And so this is something different. And I don't know if it necessarily matters that it's the Chinese New Year. I think they were just looking for an excuse to drain cores. Tinfoil hat. Prior to the Tiger campaign that's coming up soon.
All right, on the subject of cynicism, we have noticed, again, I didn't notice because I had already done it, but a lot of people are just now noticing they changed Node 6 of DD4.
Yes,
they changed almost every wave except the first wave. Mm-hmm. And some would say that adding a bunch of black bolts where there weren't black bolts made it harder.
Just a smidge.
So, in your opinion, what, is this acceptable? Was it an accident? So I guess I should also clarify, they have already addressed it and said that it was unintentional.
Yeah, I was really confused because I started getting some messages on Discord here and there where people are like, hey, your guide's wrong. And I was like, really? Which one? And they're like, Node 6. I was like, no, I did Node 6. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I went through it, like, and I validated. I was using my guide to do Node 6, and I was just really confused. And they were like, oh man, I don't know. It's like, I don't know what they're talking about. They're like, there's black bolts and stuff in these later nodes. I'm like, wait, what? Like, I had to go back through, and I was just like, no. I checked my stream, I checked like other resources. I was like, I have no idea what the hell they're talking about. And like, they sent me screenshots, and I was just like, huh. This is
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this. I don't think they've ever made this kind of live change in the game.
Oh,
Have they? In
yes.
Dark Dimension?
Oh yes,
Really?
this is not. Oh yeah, they do this all the time. They made crazy changes to the node. So everyone forgets this. That nightmare node in DD3, the one in DD with all the Miss Marvel and the BP and all the assists.
Yeah, Node 3. Yeah,
that one used to be
node.
way worse. Yeah, no, they love using players as QA, and they love like letting the first group of guinea pigs go through it before they change it up. This is not at all the first time, and every time they get caught, they say it's an accident. But it worries me when they don't get caught. Like some of them, every time something like this comes up, like they never volunteer this information. It's always like,
what exactly
if we get
changed?
caught.
What exactly changed on
In
Node 3?
DD3? I don't remember. I
don't think it was
remember
characters though. I think it was fixing bugs.
No.
Because the America Chavez's were healing everybody for 20% when they came down, and so if you like died and then came back in, they would all heal for 20% because they were all brawlers.
Well,
right?
there was that, but there was also like the BP getting the extra resets from the assist. That was another bug.
That was a bug too. Yeah. Well,
Right,
even when he killed somebody, he was getting double turn meter.
Right.
He was getting
Right.
2,000 turn meter instead of 1,000.
Right, for no reason.
And it had nothing to do with the assist. It was just like he would get a kill and he would do two. I guess they were counting it for both the Miss Marvel assist that never happened or something, and that was just silly. And they did fix that. That was a hot fix, and we all got Dark Dimension heal compensations for it. I got like 3,000 or something when they did it.
I don't remember what the character fix was. I'd have to like go back and ask people.
Yeah.
But I know they have changed more than one thing in Dark Dimension. So I'll just say again that there is precedent for this. They do this. This is how they design nodes. Is they have some internal metric for how hard or how easy it should be. And if they notice it being too easy, they make it harder. And if they notice it being too hard, they make it easier. I don't know how they determine it, but this is not the first time they've done it. And again, my concern is like, if they are making these changes in game modes I'm not doing on stream, and then someone else documented like and paid attention to well enough that they notice it being different when they do it, it's going to go under the radar. Like, for all we know, they also did this in Ultimus 5, but the content creators aren't streaming Ultimus 5, and then the new people doing Ultimus 5, most of them are new to the point where they're not like paying real close attention to wave drops and stuff, so they're just not going to get caught. But they definitely do this. They've done this more than once in more than one game mode, and there aren't as many examples coming to mind, but I promise you, this didn't surprise me. When I heard about this, my thought wasn't like, whoa, what is this? My thought was like, again? They've done this again? And when they do it in instances like this, I'm like, they know every CC who's doing this is streaming it.
Yeah.
How could they expect to get away with this? So their official explanation is it was unintentional. Now, I don't personally buy that, but I will say it's not implausible. It's not unreasonable. So they do this thing, and you notice this happen all the time, where so every new update pulls like some of the information from the new update, copy pasted from the old update. But depending on when they took that screenshot, copy paste of the old update to bring it over, sometimes it brings over old information. So like the most recent one that I remember is like the Black Bolt bug where his passive wouldn't go off if it cleared a death proof.
Yep.
And then we all pointed out, we're like, this isn't how this is supposed to work. And then they fixed it. And then the very next patch, it was back. And it wasn't because they made the conscious decision to unfix it. It's they brought over other stuff, and that other stuff dragged with it part of the old code that they hadn't gone back and updated. So
it's a mistake with branch merges when it comes to coding, and when you have multiple developers working on the same code set, you need to make sure that their branches, whatever they're focusing on, is like a separate module from what the other one's doing. Otherwise, you do have overwrites, and then when you merge them, you don't realize that you've unintentionally brought in old code that's been updated elsewhere by somebody else, and that's all it is. It's a bad development style because it's merging branches that shouldn't be there, or at least they shouldn't be merging on top of each other, and that's the problem.
Right, that's exactly it. So I can absolutely believe, like, I find their story plausible, that they're like, this was an old version of the wave that we decided not to keep, but we accidentally pushed it live without realizing it.
Yeah. So I did update my guide at least to show both the before and after. So
there's an additional. Hold on, let's go super tinfoil here.
What's that?
Maybe the Dutchrudder DD4 guide is just costing them too many cores. And so they had to take away your credibility. So people stopped going, oh, I tried to listen to that Dutch guy's guide. Yeah, he said clone this. Symbiote Spider-Man completely ignores the black hole. That guy's an idiot.
That would be amazing.
So on to the next topic. Iceman has been added to the Orbs.
So that's pretty quick. What's the turnaround? Wait, he's not even out of his blitz yet.
I know.
Wait, that's unusual.
Uh-huh.
Because if they had kept the regular cadence of blitzes, he should be in a blitz right now. And I'm happy to kick America Chavez to the curb because I couldn't care less about her. But man, like, that is really unusual. Do you think that's also an accident?
No. They've been stepping that up more and more and more. Okay. So yeah, they've been picking up the pace. This was probably the fastest one I've seen, but the last few that they've done, I've gone, wow, that was pretty quick. But I keep, like, each time they do it, I'm like, that's all right, that's pretty quick. This one I was like, that's really quick. Good. Keep it up. This is what we want to see.
Yeah, that's interesting because that makes premium orbs more valuable, and your megas if you're. Although I do kind of find that funny because I already pulled my megas from from Jubilee, right? And not having America Chavez in there, I'd be happy not to because I don't need her, and even if I did, I could just farm her. But that's an interesting timing of it, right? That is really unusual. I gotta think that's like a fat finger where it's supposed to be like the 23rd and not, or the 22nd instead of the 12th.
I think that they're just trying to get ahead of it. I think they realize, like, we have so many unfarmable characters, and I think they realize, like, we've noticed that, like, basic orbs, you're getting them one shard at a time. Premium orbs, people just aren't opening large quantities of premium orbs, and there's like over 100 characters in premium orbs.
Yeah, they aren't premium anymore. That's the problem.
So you statistically you'd have to open like 100 premium orbs to get 15 Iceman shards, and we're not getting anywhere near enough to do that even inside of a month. And then a mega orb, how many mega orbs you get a month? 2. So what are the odds you hit Iceman? Right, 2 in a good month. So I think they realize, like, hey, we can put them in orbs and it might sell some more orbs for us, but it's really not going to cost us, like, people suddenly unlocking these characters too quickly.
Yeah.
So, which is good. Like, thank you for waking up and realizing that. But
man, yeah, that is so odd. Like,
hey, don't question a good thing.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. That does feel like what it should be as far as the cadence goes. And I know they mentioned something about that in the blog, or, well, it's not. Yeah, it's a blog, but it's not the official blog, right? It's the character availability hasn't been keeping up with what their expectations were, and so they're trying to ramp it up a little bit faster. And so maybe that's what we'll see is more orb availability in the future. I would hope so. I think that's a good move because orbs are so random, and I mean, God, I don't even know how many premium and whatever orbs I open every day or every week, and how many are dupes. Reducing dupes is always a benefit to everybody.
I agree. All right, a few more topics, and then we'll get to the devlog and wrap up. So the new Battle Pass is launched. We got some new Battle Pass rewards, and we got a new round of weekly bans. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, so for me, it's just, Beast is essential. I really thought Beast was going to be last month's RTA reward. And it just felt like it to me, like, oh, Jubilee's coming. Oh, he's going to be part of that team. But they put Yellow Jacket in there, which was a good decision. That is absolutely, because he was part of the unlock for Jubilee. So now we're getting part of the team for Jubilee. So that makes sense in the chronological order of the RTA releases. I still, man, like, I mean, I don't know, I'd have to go back and compare, but I don't think they really changed the amount of gear that you're getting. So, I mean, I still feel like it's a lot if you buy the RTA pass. Right. I never buy the premium RTA pass because I do enough RTA, especially just to stream for fun, because it's, it is some content. It's not the best content, but sometimes it's fun. And I usually just try to, like, get done as fast as possible. But it is something to do. It is something to occupy your time. It does take a decent amount of time, and so I understand where they're coming from, where they're like, okay, well, if you want to pay to not do 30% of it, here you go. But if you don't, then spend a couple hours doing this and autoing, I guess. I do think that people are missing out on the opportunity to find a friend that's similar power and put in a team of like Shuri, Invisible Woman, a bunch of support protector type people that aren't going to murder anybody, and just put it on auto for 5 minutes with both teams just taking a ton of turns and getting rid of those healer and support or controller or whatever teams, and just get it done as much as you can, then fill in the gaps later.
No, I've done that.
Yeah.
I've gotten into intentional Mexican standoffs where
Right.
you're just like, I'll get all mine and you get all of yours.
Yeah. Put Yo-Yo in there for bio, and she gets a ton of turns, and she just makes sure that the other team doesn't murder you. And
Right.
I think that's part of I know the community's ire is around the amount of time you spend at RTA, but I think you can cut down on it quite a bit, because I did this once with on stream with a couple of guys that we were just trying to get each other. And I mean, we were able to get like 50 plus turns of like support characters on one match. And it's like, okay, well, that's 1/6 or 1/12 of what we need for a 600 and 1/3 of what you need for 150. So it's like, there's ways around it. It's just a matter of what are you willing to invest as far as time goes.
Well, so that's my favorite thing about RTAs. It's the great irony of RTAs. It was advertised as a real-time PvP arena, and it is most effectively played by not going against your opponent at all, but rather working with them. It's real-time make friends arena.
It's real turtle arena.
Yeah. I wish I'd thought of that.
Real turtle arena.
Real turtle arena is perfect.
That's it. That's exactly what it is.
God, that's so good. All right, that's taken. I'm using that forever now. That's perfect. Yeah, it's real turtle arena, but it also, like I said, like it encourages, like it literally advertises like, now you can play against real players. Like no. Now you can co-op with real players.
Yep.
Yeah. Now we just need a chat, so you can be like, I know, right? Don't kill my Daredevil. I won't kill your Mantis. Cool. We cool. Nick Fury demoted to baby's first legendary. Now, basically.
That's a great way to describe it. But I mean, there's like Iron Man is kind of in that same vein, right? He was demoted.
He got demoted first, yeah.
And is Fury a perpetual legendary, or is he just a cheaper unlock?
So
I'm
that's
not
a
clear
good
on
question.
that. I'm not clear on that from what they said.
I don't think they've said that he'll be a perpetual. I think they just said that he's cheaper. So you might be onto something with that. They might have just made it like, well, you do have to farm Kree, but only to 3-star.
Yeah.
It could be. You're absolutely right. But yeah, I'll tell you, like, I don't mind this at all. Right? Nick Fury is not super important in the meta. The Kree minions are not worth farming currently. So I don't mind this change. But I'll tell you the most offensive thing to me about this change is Nick Fury is just a better character than Star-Lord. And Star-Lord is not demoted.
Oh, man. Huh. I would rather have a Star-Lord than a Fury in a lot of cases. But it is, global versus cosmic. I mean...
I'll tell you the instance where I'd rather have Star-Lord. If I can put Star-Lord next to a better character. And then it's just... Star-Lord is just there so that... Yeah, but so he's squishier than Fury. His burst damage does nothing. His basic is pretty much useless. He's a special and a passive. Fury is able to summon. He can slow with one of the summons. He can rewind and steal buffs, and then he can spread like death proofs and evades and all sorts of good stuff to the entire team. He brings a lot of utility. So I'll take Fury in most instances, but. Again, the thing is, like, Fury is actually contributing his own things for the most part. Star-Lord stays semi-relevant because, like, they can just release a new awesome character, and then you can be like, well, I could put Star-Lord next to Doom. Now, even Doom is better now. So, Star-Lord's just kind of that, like, he just rides on the coattails of every good character that comes out. He's just like, I'm helping.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean... Fury is a buff machine. That's kind of his role, but also the minions kind of take some damage here and there. It does say in the blog that he is permanently coming, so he's being brought down from the rotation and being put
so
into
it's a
Iron
full
Man
demotion.
status. It's Iron Man status, yeah.
They're celebrating Black History Month by demoting Nick Fury.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Oh man, yeah, they didn't mention that part of it, but yeah, Star-Lord feels like another one of those that's a little bit past his time. That also deserves to be permanently enshrined in the unlockable options. Like once you get it, that is interesting. I wish they would kind of do that with some of them, with some more. I think Shuri also deserves to kind of be in that spot, and I mean, you know, there's only so many legendaries in this game that it feels like for newer players, it would just be better to let them earn a lot of these older ones at their own leisure.
Yes.
Invisible Woman, Magneto, I think could also go in that category. Not that they aren't good
don't
characters.
Don't use that about my girl Sue.
I'm not saying that they aren't good characters.
Back.
It's just that the age of them, I think, is more like let them catch up faster. Newer players, because that's all. It feels like a catch-up mechanism, and I'm all in favor of those because we need more of those. And I feel like a lot of newer players are just kind of in a swamp where there's so many things that they could do, like go different directions, that this helps them, you know, I can get this 5th star on this character that's going to help me, you know, with the villains campaign. And I think they need a little bit more avenues to get through some of that content. And I think that would be a good way of doing it without breaking the meta, but that does mean that you need to go back to looking at, like, well, how many legendaries do we have on rotation, and how much do we need to space them out to make it work? But that seems like a pretty easy formula to figure out. You know, just whiteboard it, and, you know, if it's every 4 weeks, so be it. You know, that actually means less calendars that they have to give out. So that is one of the nerfs that you're getting by making these permanent. You don't get the Kree calendar anymore from Fury, so that's more you have to farm technically if you're not already at 7 stars with those characters. So that is something to think about on the flip side of these permanent legendaries, that you're missing out on free shards for them.
The newest dev blog basically says we're going to get a real dev blog tomorrow instead. Like, we tried to time this so that we would get the dev blog.
I know.
But thwarted again. But they did acknowledge community feedback. And by that, they mean they realized they were getting a large number of 1-star ratings in the store. So I certainly did not rally people to do it. And I was not, like, calling for people to do it. But when people ask me, like, what do you think? I'm really upset. What should I do? I always tell people, like, spending strikes don't work in gacha games. They just don't. True. There are people who do not care and will take the opportunity to wail ahead of you. However, ratings bombs always work in gacha games, because if you give them a low enough rating in the store, you hide the app and then new players can't find it.
That's true.
They do not want you giving them bad ratings. Now, this only works if you give them a good rating once they give you what you want. And I don't mean like hold out. They're never going to give you everything you want. But if they yield, put the rating back to where it was so that you have the option to do this in the future. You know, the people are like, mine's still a 1-star rating from FixMSF. Like, all right, well, you cast your stone, I guess. But yeah, people have been asking me, like, what do you think about all this? And I've basically said, like, look, bad ratings will get the job done. I'm not calling for that yet. I don't think the game is in such an appallingly offensive state, but they've clearly upset a lot of people. And look, the ratings are there for you to give your feedback. So if your feedback is that this is garbage, that is how you can let them know.
Yeah, so. I totally agree. I think we've seen this not just in this game, and I think that's the benchmark, right? Is that other games that have had the similar sort of, I guess, meandering off the path to sort of a combative relationship with the user base instead of a functional, positive feedback relationship between the two. It is known that they respond, or other game studios have responded well to negative feedback ratings, that they are encouraged to listen to the fan base and kind of correct the course so that they can improve their relationship with the community and make sure that people understand that they do care what they think, that they do know that you love the game, that they want to hear your feedback, that they actually do want to respond to it. And I mean, that's the best feeling that you can get, is that, you know, your sort of voice, your your votes, your Reddit upvotes make a difference to some degree. You want to make sure that that's getting heard and that the devs and the people that are making those high up decisions are hearing that and realizing that, you know, a positive, good relationship with the player base is more beneficial to both parties than a constrictive, strangling sort of situation that we have right now, where it's just like chokehold and stranglehold and barriers after barriers is kind of strangling the user base to where they don't feel like they have any say or any feedback into this loop of how the game is designed. And I think that's really important. And so this blog sheds a little bit of light in that direction, where we feel like it is maybe turning the course and correcting slightly. I still am not convinced, right? There's a lot of vaporware where it's like we need to see it, not just give mouth or not just give words to it, but actually like let's see the action that comes out of it, and that's where we're at. So
exactly. But no, you're absolutely right. But I want to pitch a more cynical approach. I've been covering this game for over 3 years, and this is how it is. I've just seen this over and over, and I'm now like as jaded as can be on this particular topic, which is that the phrase I used to describe this is the endless waltz of mobile gaming, which is they are always going to squeeze a little more and a little more and a little more. Their goal is like they're okay with frustrating you as long as you're still spending and still playing, and they only stop frustrating you when it's enough that you want to quit and stop playing. And they find that line by crossing it. So I've watched them do this over and over, where they squeeze. Eventually people tap and go, that's it, I'm out. And then they go, no, we're just gonna, we'll make it better. And then they're like, look, we're gonna do all this nice stuff. And everyone's like, okay, I'm back in. And then they squeeze, and it happens over and over and over. And this is just how it's gonna play out. Like, call me a fortune teller, but I do believe they're gonna make a lot of positive choice, you know, a bunch of positive decisions, and we're all gonna be very happy with what they implement. And it's gonna be good for a bit, and then something's gonna happen like, well, that kind of sucks, but we'll deal with it. And then something else will happen like, all right, this is starting to get pretty crappy, and then it'll get bad, and then it'll get real bad, and then it'll get, are they even listening to us? And then it will get to time to go on strike, and then a bunch of good stuff will happen again. And that's just, you know, they just keep squeezing until they realize like, oh, apparently this amount of squeezing is where people stop paying us altogether. So that's too much squeeze.
Right.
Just before that was the right amount of squeeze, where we were getting just the right amount of money.
Yeah.
But like Reddit outrage, like they don't like bad publicity, but if bad publicity doubles their revenue, they don't give a crap about bad publicity.
It's true. If
you're still playing and you're still paying, that's all they care about. Mm-hmm. So that's why the ratings are a way to combat that. But yeah, if you're like, I do believe the game is about to get a lot better, but also just know the way this works, we're gonna end up back here in 6 months or a year, and you just have to be prepared to accept that and prepared to ratings bomb them again when they cross a line. But don't be the guy who every single new event that rolls around, you're like, this is kind of unfriendly to players in my position. 1 star. You can't do this all the time. You have to wait until it gets egregious, but this is just how it goes. Yeah.
Well, I think we have seen a little bit of change in the current event going on, the Lunar event, reducing the milestone high-end rewards at least to 3,000 core stay instead of 5. I'm sorry, I can't say that with a straight face. It's I mean, that is a little bit of a move in the right direction. Moving the T14 gear to the early milestones instead of later ones is a positive change, right? It makes it more accessible to more users, especially people who are trying to get into like DD3, right? That's going to help. But at the same time, that's not enough of a really categorical change to the way that they treat the game and the user base to make me say, oh, well, they are moving in the right direction. This is going to be way better in the near future. I mean, they're still pumping out characters as fast as they can. They're making it hard to farm them, and you know we're seeing that more and more. And so there's some hope in the new blog that they are going to address some things like the training module crunch. But at the same time, it's just like, man, there's so many other things that I really want to see. Thor's special bug, right? They specifically put a line item in about that, and I'm just like, okay, but I could name several other bugs right off the top of my head that I experience once in a while that just, you know, crap out like a raid attack or a war attack here and there. And I'm just like, you know, I mean, yeah, that's good, but it's like, there's other known bugs that cause the game to crash or just get stalled.
What?
Like, it just gets stuck.
No, there are no bugs in Marvel. What are you talking about?
Have you seen, like, one that I've had it happen a couple times recently is when Mystique uses her ult and there's no other enemies except for the one you're attacking. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been autoing Brotherhood on like a mutant node, and I'm just like, I come back to my phone, and it's like 3 minutes left in the raid node, and it's just Mystique standing there with another Mystique, and I'm like, wait, what are you doing? Like,
she just switched sides. Now you're in a Mexican standoff.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but at the same time, it's like, come on, like just like do it and do the animation, just move on. Like, just don't do the secondary attack. It's fine. Like, it can't be that hard to fix. I mean, it's known. Like, I've submitted not only video but also photo evidence that like multiple times to their support, and it's just like, I don't even think it's in the queue, you know. And that's the real problem. It's like, it's not even just necessarily player feedback on how the game operates, but like, can you functionally fix certain things that just seem like no-brainers to me? The other thing I want to highlight from the blog is that they did mention that they're going to do something with save squads slots.
Yes.
Yeah. Say that 3 times fast. So I don't know what, but I know in other games, and the one that's always referenced is Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, is that each game mode has its own tab and has its own set of save slots based on the amount they would expect you would need for that game mode. And right now we have 160 characters, right? So we really need like 40 save slots, right, to make a team for each of them. And that's just for Blitz, right? And it's just like, come on, like Raid needs a couple of slots. Arena could use a few slots, one for defense, a few for offense, depending on what you're fighting. I mean, I would hope that Arena eventually gets to the point where it's like, okay, depending on what defense they're using, you want to choose the right offense to match up against it, and instead of just constantly Black Order versus Black Order, right? Like, that would be amazing. Like, War, I want an offense set and I want a defense set, right? Like, Raid, it's like, it depends on which raid I'm doing and which like Greek raid it is. I want to have a couple of save slots for those, and it's just, man, it's just like, it seems like such a simple thing that you just copy paste like whatever that is and give me a you know, another couple of dozen slots here and there, and I'm good. All right, but if I'm a coder and I know how this works, and I'm just like, oh man, the way these save slots are designed, it's just such a pain in the ass to add more. I can't really explain that very well, but if I tell the suits up above who don't know anything about tech,
that's
and
true.
I just say, look, it's gonna cost more money to add this than it's worth. It's like a couple thousand lines of code times a couple million players. I mean, we're talking like, you know, megabytes of information, then it's going to be like, whoa, and they're going to be like, holy crap, how many floppy disks is that? And it's just like, that's the pitch. That's the, okay, I agree. We can't add more save slots. It's going to cost us at least $11 billion a year to do this. It's just
making a lot more sense.
No go. Give them more Shadowlands characters, and we're good. Like, those don't cost anything.
I have this idea that they have like one super capable coder, but he only works between the hours of 2 and 4, 2 days a week. And so he's just like, tell me what you need, make it important. Like, all right, I did the thing. And they're like, oh, can you put it here too? He's like, no, you know, I take lunch from now until next week. But all right, so this is going to be an absolute nightmare for LiveFool to edit. Good luck to him for turning this into something concise and coherent, because the actual live recording time of this episode was over 3 hours. Me and Dutch like to go off topic and joke about things. So if
Okay.
you want to watch the live recording of this, you can catch it. Dutch live streams these on his YouTube and his Twitch. I'll put links to his stuff in the video description. But yeah, the live show is a bit of a different experience. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, please let us know. If there's things you think we should do differently, please let us know. There will be timestamps in the description for all the different news items that we talked about. And yeah, if you have any name suggestions for this series, leave those in the comments. Otherwise, we have quite literally blabbed on long enough. Any closing thoughts for everyone, Dutch?
Oh man, good luck to live pool. I wish I could send you something in compensation for all the time that you have to go through this, but I had a lot of fun. It was a great time. We got to chat about so many different topics. It's going to be hard to categorize all of them, but we'll do this again next week, and hopefully that we've gotten through the backlog. It'll be a little bit more succinct and a lot more to the point next week.
But otherwise, that's all we've got for our first week of covering the news. But yeah, let us know any feedback you have. Leave it in the comments. And yeah, if you guys are into this, we will make this a weekly thing. But until then, I think we should sign off. Do you have anything you say when you sign off?
Just, I'll see you next time.